Cummins engines don't just run, they dominate. They powered the first worldwide diesel truck trip across 3,214 miles and smashed land speed records at 222 miles per hour, proving they are unstoppable. Clessie Cummins, a self-taught mechanic, transformed a slow 1919 diesel into a smooth, efficient powerhouse, driving a Packard automobile to New York on just $1.50 of fuel. Cummins engines shocked the Indy 500, revived Dodge trucks with the 5.9-liter turbo diesel, powered military vehicles and stadiums, and pioneered hydrogen and electric powertrains. With 5 million engines built, AI-driven cooling, and piezoelectric injectors firing 3,000 times per minute, Cummins doesn't just make engines, they set the standard for speed, durability, and innovation worldwide. Let's analyze the 20-odd facts about Cummins, but before, hit the subscribe button right away and hype if you loved this video so far. 1. A self-taught mechanic designed the first Cummins engine. In 1919, while most people saw diesel engines as smoke-belching, clunky machines fit only for factories, Clessie saw potential. Cummins obsessed over Rudolf Diesel's invention, spending late nights tinkering with a Dutch Vid engine in his garage in Indiana. He figured out fuel injection in a way no one else had, taming diesel's rough, temperamental nature and turning it into something surprisingly smooth and powerful. By 1924, his Model F engine was lighter, more efficient, and faster than anything on the market. And then came the stunt that cemented his legend. In 1929, he stuffed his engine into a luxury Packard and drove to New York City on just $1.50 of fuel. Diesel suddenly wasn't just industrial, it was brilliant. 2. Cummins powered the first transcontinental trucking trip. After the Packard incident made headlines, Cummins wanted to show diesel could handle the real grind. In 1931, they loaded a diesel truck for a 3,214-mile trek across America's rough, pre-interstate roads. The trip wasn't easy. Brakes failed in the Alleghenies, roof shingles patched the cooling system, and at California's Cajon Pass, they narrowly avoided a freight train. But through every obstacle, the Cummins Model U engine kept roaring. By the time they reached Los Angeles, they'd spent just $11.22 on fuel and smashed GM's gasoline truck record by nearly 7 hours. Diesel wasn't just efficient, it was unstoppable. 3. Turbo diesel power stole the spotlight at the 1952 Indy 500. On May 30th, 1952, the Indy 500 roared to life with gasoline engines thundering, smoke filling the air, and suddenly there was a diesel car on the grid. Cummins rolled in with a 6.6-liter inline-six turbo diesel stuffed into a sleek roadster called the Cummins Diesel Special. Gasoline teams laughed. Diesel at Indy? No way. But driver Fred Agabashian proved them wrong. He qualified on pole at 139.014 miles per hour, shocking the crowd. The secret? They mounted the engine sideways, bolted on a turbo, and crammed it all into a bullet-shaped speed machine. Lap 71 ended the dream when debris gummed up the turbo, but the message was clear. Diesel could race with the fastest gasoline cars on the planet. Cummins had pulled off the impossible, turning a workhorse engine into a high-speed legend. 4. The tragic rubber incident. The 1952 Indy 500 story takes a heartbreaking twist here. The Green Hornet is tearing through the track, holding 4th place after 175 grueling miles, when disaster strikes out of nowhere. The turbocharger inlet, perched low behind the grille, starts sucking up chunks of rubber from the racing surface. Within minutes, it's completely clogged, and the car is forced to retire. But the really amazing find came decades later during restoration. Cracks were found in the crankshaft. Had the car kept racing after the turbo choked, the engine wouldn't have just failed, it would have exploded. This incident drilled a lesson into Cummins engineers that stuck. The placement of your air intake is never trivial. In other words, it's like trying to breathe through your nose in a dust storm. Sometimes a small oversight can ruin everything. 5. The 5.9-liter Cummins turbo diesel changed everything for Dodge. Back in the 1980s, Dodge trucks were fading fast, designs were aging, sales were falling, and competitors like Ford and Chevy were leaving them in the dust. The truck division didn't just need help, it needed a miracle. That miracle came in the form of the 5.9-liter Cummins turbo diesel. Chrysler gave Cummins a green light to fit a heavy-duty diesel into a pickup, and the first Gen 5.9-liter prototype rolled out fast. By mid-1988, diesel-powered Rams were hitting the streets, proudly sporting Cummins turbo diesel on the fenders. like a challenge to every other truck out there. Chrysler had expected maybe 10,000 sales in the first year. Instead, over 16,000 trucks were delivered immediately, and by 1991, the 100,000th Cummins Ram was on the road. Dodge went from nearly forgotten to impossible to ignore, all thanks to a little diesel magic. 6. Land speed records are no problem for Cummins engines. When you think of Cummins, you probably picture heavy-duty trucks, towing, and hauling. But these engines can fly when they want to. Take the Banks Sidewinder Dakota in 2002, a street-legal pickup that hit 222 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. Under the hood, a modified Cummins 5.9-liter turbo diesel cranking out 735 horsepower and 1,300 pound-feet of torque. This wasn't a stripped-down race truck. It had air conditioning, a stereo, and license plates. And yet, it became the world's fastest pickup, holding the record for years. The Sidewinder was proof that diesel isn't just for work. It can chase records, hit insane speeds, and steal the show. 7. The first 100,000-mile warranty. Back in 1940, most engines were toast by 50,000 miles. But Cummins? They did something nobody dared. They slapped a 100,000-mile warranty on their engines. Bold? Absolutely crazy? But they weren't bluffing. Cummins knew their engines could go the distance. This wasn't just a clever marketing scheme, it shook the whole industry. Suddenly, competitors had to either up their durability game or look like amateurs. Imagine Tesla dropping a 1,000,000-mile battery guarantee when everyone else is stuck at 100,000. That's the level of confidence we're talking about here. Cummins wasn't just making engines, they were rewriting the rules, showing the world that diesel power could last longer, work harder, and refuse to quit. 8. Major stadiums trust Cummins to bring the power. When a stadium packs tens of thousands of screaming fans, blinding lights, booming sound systems, and halftime shows that could rival Broadway, you can't leave power to chance. That's why some of the biggest sports arenas in the world rely on Cummins generators to keep the energy flowing without a hitch. From NFL stadiums to giant college football venues, these engines are the quiet heroes behind the scenes. If the grid goes out mid-game, Cummins machines come in within seconds, keeping everything running: lights, scoreboards, broadcast feeds, concessions, you name it. Fans don't even notice the hiccup, but these engines make sure the show never stops. And it's not just stadiums. Landmark sites across the U.S. trust Cummins, too. The Statue of Liberty? Lit by Cummins' backup power. The White House? Even Mount Rushmore stays illuminated at night thanks to a little help from these relentless engines. 9. Cummins makes electric and hydrogen powertrains. Just when you thought Cummins was only about diesel, they threw a curveball that's straight out of sci-fi. The company famous for engines that just won't quit is now diving into electric and hydrogen powertrains. And no, this isn't some marketing fluff. It's part of their Planet 2050 mission, a big push towards zero emissions. On the electric front, Cummins is teaming up with Isuzu to roll out battery-powered trucks by 2027. They've been quietly testing these electric rigs since 2022 with real fleets, making sure drivers won't end up stranded with dead batteries. Think of it as the Tesla of work trucks, minus the drama. Hydrogen? Cummins is all in. Their 15-liter hydrogen internal combustion engine already delivers over 290 horsepower and 800 pound-feet of torque in early tests. Engineers even built a turbocharger specifically for hydrogen combustion to meet strict emission standards, especially in Europe. This isn't the future, it's happening now. 10. Modularity is the future of Cummins engines. Cummins just solved a problem that's haunted engine designers for decades: how to make one engine that can run on different fuels without starting over each time. The answer? Modularity. Here's how it works. Below the head gasket, every engine is basically the same. Same block, pistons, and internals, whether it runs on diesel, hydrogen, or natural gas. The magic happens above the gasket. Swap the fuel system, tweak the injection setup, adjust the intake, and suddenly it's a different engine for a different fuel. This fuel-flexible approach lets Cummins pivot fast. Hydrogen taking off, a new futuristic fuel shows up. It's like keeping your options wide open while everyone else locks theirs in. Plus, it saves manufacturing headaches. Same production lines, same tooling, just swap the heads. Modular engineering that's basically Lego for grown-up engines. 11. Cummins to pay. Record-setting $1.675 billion U.S. environmental fine. In December 2023, Cummins got hit with a $1.675 billion fine from the U.S. Justice Department for violating the Clean Air Act. The company had installed devices on 960,000 Ram pickup truck diesel engines between 2013 and 2023 that bypassed or disabled emissions controls. On top of that, they'll pay $325 million in recalls and remedies. Cummins used defeat devices on 630,000 Ram, 2,500 and 3,500 trucks from 2013 to 2019, and undisclosed emissions devices on 330,000 trucks from 2019 to 2023. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland said preliminary estimates suggest these engines produced thousands of tons of extra nitrogen oxide emissions. It's the second largest environmental penalty ever, a sharp reminder that even legendary engines can get tangled in some serious legal heat. 12. World War II's secret weapon. During World War II, Cummins engines weren't just hauling trucks, they were part of some of the war's riskiest operations. Take the YMS minesweepers, tiny wooden boats that cleared mines from beaches before D-Day. Cummins built special K-25 engines for them. Two of these engines powered magnetic sweeps that mimicked steel ships, triggering mines safely from a distance. Of the 21 YMS minesweepers at Normandy, 3 were sunk by mines despite all precautions. Those Cummins engines literally paved the way for the largest amphibious invasion in history, saving countless lives, yet putting crews in extreme danger. It's wild to think a diesel engine, something so familiar on highways and farms, was quietly shaping the outcome of World War II. It's not just mechanics, that's a frontline contribution to history itself. 13. The flamethrower engine feature. During World War II, Cummins HB600 engines had a built-in preheating system to help start in freezing temperatures. It wasn't a weapon. The system forced air through a nozzle across a spark plug, creating a controlled flame that warmed the intake air so the diesel could start, even in extreme cold. This system allowed the engines to operate reliably in harsh winter conditions without external heaters or complicated startup procedures. Engineers designed it specifically to solve the problem of frozen mornings and ensure the engines could fire up immediately. It's a rare example of how Cummins combined durability and clever engineering to meet extreme environmental challenges, making these engines dependable in situations where other diesels might fail. 14. The hydrogen world record nobody saw coming. In October 2024, Cummins made science fiction real. Their hydrogen fuel cell truck, a Kenworth T370 prototype, drove 1,806 miles on a single hydrogen fill. That's right, 1,806 miles without refueling, while producing 0 carbon emissions. To put that into perspective, a normal diesel truck would have pumped out 664 pounds of CO2 over the same distance. This hydrogen beast? Only water and steam. It's like watching the future unfold in real time, powered by a company that started over a century ago with a farm kid tinkering on a steam engine. 15. The celebrity connection you never expected. Here's a wild one. Cummins engines have shown up in some seriously surprising places. Take Banks Engineering, for example. They stuffed a heavily modified 5.9-liter Cummins into a Dodge Dakota and didn't just make it fast, they made it record-breaking. This truck hit a land speed record of 222 miles per hour at Bonneville. And get this, it drove itself to the salt flats, towing its own service trailer, and still managed 23 miles per gallon on the highway. That's like a daily driver moonlighting as a rocket ship. Today, that same Dakota lives at the NHRA Museum, standing as proof that Cummins engines aren't just about brute force. They're smart, practical, and capable of pushing world records. 16. The 3,400 horsepower monster. Hold on to your hats because this one is insane. Chris Patterson's 2022 dyno run turned the internet upside down. A Cummins engine producing a remarkable 3,401 rear-wheel horsepower. To put that in perspective, that's more power than most of us will generate behind the wheel in our entire lives, packed into one engine. But here's the surprise. This wasn't some weak showpiece. The same engine ran Race Week 2.0, going track to track, hitting 5-second eighth mile times and even covering over 1,300 street miles. That's right. Cummins built an engine that can casually log street miles in the morning and rewrite the laws of physics on the track by night. It's proof that Cummins engines can be civilized for the road, while simultaneously being utterly ferocious when you need them to be. 17. The military applications you never knew about. Most people don't realize that Cummins has been quietly powering U.S. military vehicles for decades. Since the 1970s, engines like the 903T series have been under the hood of the M2 Bradley fighting vehicle, the angular, tank-like machine you've seen in war films. These aren't civilian engines repurposed for combat. They're built from the ground up to survive the absolute worst conditions, where failure isn't just inconvenient, it can be deadly. Then there's the M809 series military trucks, powered by the NHC-250 engines with over 70,000 units built. That's like supplying an entire small city with reliable, battle-ready vehicles, all thanks to Cummins. It's a side of the brand most people don't see. Not just diesel engines for trucks and pickups, but hardcore life-or-death machines designed to perform when it matters most. 18. The 5 million engine milestone. In 2023, Cummins hit a massive milestone: 5 million engines built at their Rocky Mount engine plant. And that's just one facility. Across the globe, Cummins has plants in the US, UK, China, India, Brazil, and Germany, all churning out hundreds of thousands of engines every year. That scale is mind-blowing. To really get it, imagine this. If every single one of those 5 million engines ran for just 1 hour, they'd collectively produce enough power to keep New York City running for about 3 months straight. That's not just numbers on a page. That's the kind of impact that shows why Cummins engines are everywhere, from trucks to construction machines, silently powering our world behind the scenes. It's a reminder that these engines aren't just machines. They're the heartbeat of modern industry. 19. The cooling system that defies logic. Modern Cummins engines don't just run, they think. Take the X15N engine, for example. Its thermal management system is basically a mini genius inside the hood. Using AI-based monitoring, it watches the engine in real time, constantly adjusting cooling depending on load, speed, and conditions. It's like having a mechanic living inside your engine, making tiny tweaks before you even notice a problem. And it doesn't just react, it predicts. If a component is about to overheat or a problem is brewing, the system flags it through connected software, giving drivers a heads up before disaster strikes. For an engine that's known for rugged reliability, this level of intelligence is insane. It turns a traditionally brute force diesel engine into something eerily smart, efficient, and worry-free, redefining what people expect from big, noisy diesels. 20. The piezoelectric injector magic. The 5.0-liter Cummins engine in the Nissan Titan has a trick that almost sounds like science fiction. Piezoelectric injectors that can fire 7 times per single combustion event. Look at each cylinder like a tiny drum, hitting 7 notes 3,000 times per minute. That's precision on a level most engines can't touch. And the result isn't just performance, it's silence. Diesels used to roar like angry tractors, but these injectors turn the Titan's engine into a near whisper. Every firing is perfectly timed, and every combustion event is optimized for power, efficiency, and smoothness. It's a tiny piece of tech with massive effects, making this diesel feel almost futuristic. Cummins didn't just improve an engine, they gave it a kind of rhythm, a heartbeat you can almost hear if you listen closely enough. And that's a wrap. 20 insane facts that prove Cummins isn't just building engines, they're rewriting the rules of power, speed, and innovation. From self-taught legends to hydrogen records, land speed monsters, and mind-blowing tech, these engines refuse to quit, and neither should your curiosity. If this blew your mind, subscribe now and join the ride into the world's most unstoppable machines. Drop a comment. Tell us which Cummins fact shocked you the most. Hit like to show you're part of the engine revolution and wait for the next video. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming.